Hello, and welcome to House Lux Estate, your go-to channel for personal development and growth. Today we're going to explore a topic that many of us may encounter, but often overlook: the signs that you are disappointed with yourself. It's a subject that touches us all at some point, and recognizing these signs is the first step towards self-improvement and personal growth. In this journey towards self-discovery, we're not just identifying the signs of self-disappointment. We're also equipping ourselves with the knowledge to address these signs, to turn that disappointment into motivation, and to foster a healthier relationship with ourselves. Remember, it's okay to feel disappointed, but it's not okay to let that disappointment paralyze you. Self-disappointment can be a major obstacle, but it can also be a powerful catalyst for change. So, without further ado, let's dive into the signs that indicate you might be dealing with self-disappointment. The first sign of self-disappointment is constant self-criticism. Diving right into it, let's talk about constant self-criticism. It's a common habit that many of us fall into, often without even realizing it. This constant self-criticism is like a nagging voice in the back of your mind, whispering not-so-sweet nothings about every flaw, mistake, or perceived failure. It's the voice that tells you that you're not good enough, that you've messed up again, or that you'll never succeed. Now, it's important to understand that there's a stark difference between constructive self-reflection and destructive self-criticism. While the former promotes growth and learning, the latter simply tears you down. It's like having a bully living inside your mind, constantly berating you and eroding your self-esteem. This self-criticism often manifests in the form of negative self-talk. You might find yourself saying things like, "I'm such a failure," "I can't do anything right," or "Why am I always messing up?" This kind of negative self-talk can be incredibly damaging to your mental health, leading to feelings of worthlessness, anxiety, and even depression. Moreover, a study published in the Journal of Personality shows that individuals who engage in a lot of negative self-talk tend to have higher levels of stress and lower levels of self-esteem. This constant self-criticism can create a self-fulfilling prophecy, where you believe you're going to fail, and so you do. But here's the kicker: these critical voices are often not based in reality. They're based on our fears, insecurities, and past experiences, not on our current capabilities or potential. We tend to be our own harshest critic, holding ourselves to impossible standards that we would never expect of others. So if you find yourself trapped in a cycle of constant self-criticism, it's crucial to recognize this as a sign of self-disappointment. It's not about being perfect or never making mistakes. It's about learning, growing, and striving to be the best version of yourself. If you find yourself constantly criticizing your actions, thoughts, or appearance, it's time to address this as a potential sign of self-disappointment. The second sign of self-disappointment is procrastination. Now, take a moment to think about it. When was the last time you put off something you needed to do? Was it because you didn't want to do it, or was it because you felt you wouldn't be able to do it well? Procrastination is often seen as mere laziness or lack of discipline, but it's much more than that. It can indeed be a manifestation of deeper emotional struggles, such as self-disappointment. When we're disappointed in ourselves, we may feel unworthy or incapable, leading to a tendency to avoid tasks or responsibilities. Imagine you're a marathon runner, and you've been training for months for the big race. But the day before the marathon, you decide not to participate, not because you're injured or ill, but because you're convinced you won't be able to finish the race. That's procrastination fueled by self-disappointment. You're avoiding the task because you're disappointed in your perceived ability or lack thereof. When we procrastinate, we're not just delaying a task. We're also delaying the opportunity to prove to ourselves that we're capable, that we can accomplish what we set out to do. We're denying ourselves the chance to challenge our self-perceived limitations. And it's not just about the big tasks or goals. Even small, everyday tasks can be affected. Have you ever put off making a phone call, writing an email, or even doing the dishes? Not because you didn't have the time, but because you felt overwhelmed or inadequate? That's procrastination in action. It's a sign that you may be dealing with feelings of self-disappointment. But remember, recognizing this sign is the first step towards overcoming it. And with patience, self-compassion, and perhaps a little help, you can break the cycle of procrastination and start feeling better about yourself. If you're always putting things off, it might be due to a feeling of self-disappointment. The third sign of self-disappointment is self-neglect. When we talk about self-neglect, we're referring to the disregard for one's physical or emotional needs. It's like forgetting to water a plant and expecting it to thrive. Without proper care and attention, It's a struggle for us to flourish. Self-neglect often manifests in a variety of ways. It can be as apparent as neglecting personal hygiene or as subtle as overworking without taking time to rest. Ignoring one's health, avoiding medical checkups, or even skipping meals are common examples of physical self-neglect. On the emotional front, it might look like suppressing feelings, avoiding reflection, or not seeking help when it's needed. Now, why would someone neglect themselves? It's a complex issue, but at the heart of it, self-neglect often stems from feelings of unworthiness or disappointment in oneself. It's like a negative feedback loop. You're disappointed in yourself, so you neglect your needs, which only leads to more disappointment because you're not feeling or performing your best. It's crucial to understand that self-neglect is not a personal failure, but rather a sign of deeper emotional distress. It's a cry for help from your inner self, signaling that something needs to change. Think about it. If you had a friend who was neglecting their needs, you'd probably be concerned, right? You'd want to help them because you care about their well-being. It's time to extend that same care and compassion to yourself. Remember, taking care of yourself is not a luxury, it's a necessity. It's about recognizing your worth and understanding that you deserve to be healthy, happy, and well taken care of. It's about breaking the cycle of self-disappointment and starting to build a healthier relationship with yourself. So, the next time you find yourself putting your needs on the back burner, take a moment to reflect. Are you doing this because you're disappointed in yourself? If the answer is yes, remember that it's okay to ask for help and it's okay to prioritize your well-being. If you're not taking care of yourself, it could be a sign that you're disappointed in yourself. The fourth sign of self-disappointment is isolation. When we are disappointed with ourselves, we tend to retreat into our own worlds, distancing ourselves from those around us. This is a natural response, a protective mechanism, if you will. We isolate ourselves because we believe that we are not worthy of other people's company or affection. Now let's delve a little deeper into this. Isolation isn't just about physically distancing yourself from others. It's as much about emotional distance. You might be in a room full of people, yet feel utterly alone. You might be talking to someone, yet feel a vast chasm between you and them. This is because you're holding yourself back, not allowing yourself to fully engage with others, due to your feelings of self-disappointment. When we're disappointed with ourselves, we often feel a sense of unworthiness. And this feeling can be so overwhelming that we start to push people away, even those we care about. We fear that they might see our flaws, our failures, just as clearly as we do. So we put up walls, we retreat, we isolate. But here's the crux of the matter. By isolating ourselves, we only amplify those feelings of self-disappointment. We trap ourselves in a cycle of negativity, where our isolation feeds our self-disappointment, and our self-disappointment drives us further into isolation. It's important to remember that everyone experiences disappointment in themselves at some point or another. It's part of being human. But it's equally important to not let this disappointment consume you, to not let it drive you into isolation. Reach out to others, share your feelings, seek help if you need to. Remember, it's okay to feel disappointed, but don't let it define you. If you're isolating yourself, it might be a sign of self-disappointment. In summary, the signs of self-disappointment include constant self-criticism, procrastination, self-neglect, and isolation. These are not mere quirks or passing phases, but indicators of a deeper struggle within. They are cries for help that we must not ignore, but rather confront head-on. Constant self-criticism can be draining and damaging. Procrastination might seem harmless at first glance, but it's a clear warning sign that you're avoiding tasks because you feel inadequate. Self-neglect is a silent alarm, signaling a lack of self-love and care. And isolation, it's a fortress built out of fear and disappointment, but ultimately, it's a prison. Recognizing these signs is the first step towards healing. Seeking help, whether from trusted friends, family, or professionals, is not a sign of weakness, but a testament to your strength and resilience. Thank you for joining us today at House Lux Estate. If you found this video helpful, please remember to subscribe for more personal growth content. Remember, it's okay to ask for help when you need it. Stay positive and keep growing.